Okay, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back. So we seem to have a bit of a situation a few days before this big fight happens at Wembley against Anthony Joshua and Daniel Dubois, right? So at the grand arrivals, something that we seem to be having since the Riyadh season, we never had this I don't believe we had this in the UK before we had major fights, the grand arrivals. Daniel Dubois came up to the grand arrivals looking very, he looked quite happy, energetic, confident, I would say. But there was one issue. Don Charles was not present. Daniel Dubois was asked a question, where's Don Charles? I believe he said something like he had something else to take care of, he's not here at the moment, but it don't really matter. As long as he's here on fight night, that's what matters. Now, a lot of content creators have come out and asked the question, what's going on with Don Charles? Where is he? Now the speculation's going on and going around that Don Charles has been axed from the camp, right? Team Dubois haven't come out and made any statements refuting these claims. So it kind of like leads us to believe that there's something going on. Now, if we look into the background of Daniel Dubois, we see that he's changed trainers a couple of times. There was a statement from Mark Tibbs saying that Daniel Dubois' father was too involved in his career, something like that. I'm paraphrasing, right? Then we saw him go over to Shane McGuigan. I'm not sure if I missed out anyone in between. Remember Shane McGuigan, and then he left Shane McGuigan, and there was a little situation going on because his sister Caroline was over there, and now we know there's a bit of a family rift going on, something to do with Shane McGuigan and Caroline being with Shane, and her dad not wanting Caroline to be with Shane, and Caroline wanting to stay with Shane, but Daniel listening to his dad and leaving, right? Spencer Fearon. Some of you guys might know who Spencer Fearon is. Calls himself self-proclaimed knowledge, the knowledge. He basically said that he advised Daniel Dubois' father to look at Don Charles as a trainer for Daniel Dubois. So eventually, it seemed like the Dubois family actually listened to Spencer Fearon, if this was to be true, and took on Don Charles and acquired his services. And in the last couple of fights, we've seen Daniel Dubois. Well, we saw him in the Usyk fight where he lost. And then he's had a couple of fights since then. The most memorable being the Hrgovic fight and the Jarrell Big Baby Miller fight, which he done extremely well in. Don Charles has been receiving a lot of praise for these victories that Daniel Dubois has wrapped up. I don't know. I'm just paraphrasing. I'm just putting something out here, right? Because Don Charles was being quoted as to be a father figure for Daniel, and Don Charles did come out and say that Daniel Dubois is like a son to him. Now, I don't know if this has rubbed Daniel Dubois' father the wrong way, but I do believe there is something going on here, right? Daniel Dubois' father as well. Shout out to Hatman. Hatman released some information that I wasn't aware of, but most of us weren't aware of, that Daniel Dubois' father has now applied and has actually received a second license, right? Chief second license, meaning he will be allowed to go into Daniel's corner to give him some advice during the fight, which we know he's been doing the past couple of fights, which technically shouldn't have been allowed, but was allowed for some reason. Well, I don't know. I'm not trying to say there's got to be something done about it, but it wasn't allowed. But he has now rectified the situation and got himself a chief second license. Another thing that Hatman pointed out was during the Jarrell Big Baby Miller fight, I believe it was a Baby Miller fight, Don Charles was trying to give Daniel Dubois instructions, and Daniel Dubois was ignoring Don Charles, but then looking over to his dad, listening to what his dad was saying, and then Don Charles got a bit assertive with him. Daniel son. Quote some Mr. Miyagi there. Daniel, are you listening to me? Are you listening to me? And Daniel snapped back at him. It reminded me a bit like Chris Eubank Jr. when, Ronnie Davis, during the Billy Joe Saunders fight, when Ronnie Davis was trying to give him some advice, saying, don't box, listen, go out there. He's trying to change his game plan. I can't remember what it was exactly what he was trying to attempt to do. I was trying to think, but I don't remember what it was. But Ronnie Davis was telling Chris Eubank Jr., telling him what to do, and Chris was not having it. He was arguing with him in there, and it sounded like Daniel Dubois snapped at Don Charles. Said, listen, man, say what you're saying, innit? Just say what you're saying, innit? I did hear that. I heard that during that fight as well. I believe it was a big Baby Miller fight. But shows a bit of contempt, you know. He shows that Daniel Dubois listens to his father, but maybe not much more than that. But anyway, look, we don't know what's going on. Hopefully some news will be released soon. Well, hopefully before the fight. If not before the fight, we want to see if Don Charles actually turns up to the fight, or is Daniel Dubois' father going to be the chief second in the corner against Anthony Joshua. But anyway, this will be a bad blow for the Dubois team if Don Charles is not in the corner for this fight against Anthony Joshua. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, do us a favour, smash the like button, hit the bell for notifications to get all new and latest videos.